Welcome back to Razmafsar TV. Today I'm going to show you a niuweidao oxtail saber, which is a Chinese saber, and this is based on 19th century. All niuweidao were 19th century, mostly 19th century sabers. They were not issued to any troops or units or military because they had other types of dao. This was mostly a civilian weapon or also used by rebels and irregular forces. Back then in the 19th century, armor was not used that often. It became obsolete, and they used this type of saber to cut against people who didn't carry heavy armor, clothes armor, and so on, or also even if it was thick cloth, they used it. This saber is, as you see, it has a flared tip. It was it was purchased, this one, 21 or 22 years ago from Kris Cutlery. And this one, as you see, has, like the original one, a flaring tip, and it has also a fuller on each side. It has, as you can see, a handle which is a disc-shaped handle, and also it has the guard. Not the handle. I'm sorry, disc-shaped guard, and it has also the handle which goes in line and supports your hand when you want to hit. You see that it has a curved handle, so a disc-shaped guard and also a palm. This time I did many heavy cuttings here, so with different types of blades, and I need to say that this Chinese blade proved something to me, which, as I can say, that I knew in the past, of course, the way a blade is made, as someone who analyzes many different antiques. So if it's crucible steel, it has a high carbon, it cuts very well, and so on and so on. And welded steel with sandwiched edged, as we do in katana, cuts very well. And of course it depends on how the blade was quenched, and also how it was hardened and quenched, and differential heat treatment, all of them play a role. And also the toughness, the Rockwell hardness and toughness, and all of them play a role. And this time I realized, of course, I knew that the geometry of a blade plays a role, but this time I realized something else as well. That also, when you have a blade in your hands, it is not only a geometry, but also the way a blade flexes makes a difference. If you hold this, I just want to show you the flexibility. Not that much, but still you can see it flexes quite well. Now, what does that mean to us? The flexibility of this blade is quite well, and this means that this blade can cut very well. And what I was very surprised when I used it, as you can see in the cutting tests, that I really need to say that it cuts better tatami omote, meaning hard grain tatami omote, as I use, one of the toughest grain I always use for cutting, much better than two-handed swords like a katana. And the scabbard is made of wood, and also the scabbard fittings is also like this, which you can see can be used to hang from the belt. I don't know. This time I used, and possibly you know that I use different mediums for cutting and also different swords for cutting. And it's very important because the geometry of this blade makes it a good or better cutter. Not only the material it is made of course the material makes also a difference. Is it a high carbon? Is it, let's say, okay, back in older ones, a crucible steel, welded steel? Does it have a sandwich? Does it have a sandwich edge, and all these things? But amongst other things, I'm sure. Also, the amount this time, something was revealing to me that the flexibility of the blade, or the type of, also has an influence on how it cuts. So then it sits somehow on tatami omote goes into it, flexes it, and goes through it. You will see that when I was doing the cutting, at one time I cut with another sword the wooden peg of my stand, sword. I mean, for tatami omote stand. So it went through it, and I no longer had a wooden peg, because it was cut clean, because I just wanted to cut more and more and more, even the smaller tatami omote. And after that, you will see that I put, I think no, exactly, sorry, this sword cut one of the packs, right? There were 2 packs which were cut with heavy cutting sessions this time, and this cut clearly through a wooden pack, which was a hardwood. And no damage to the blade. I seriously mean it. I'm very careful with blades. Also, when many collectors or many martial artists give the blades to me, like this time to cut, but and nothing happened. I inspected it, and even when I put the tatami omote, smaller one, on it, it cut through it clean. To be honest with you, I have never ever handled such a blade. And you need to take into consideration, when we have a blade, when we cut two-handed, because you have a leverage, right? As a leverage you have, it gives you a better control for cutting. But with a one-handed sword, of course, you have less force, you have only one arm. But on the other hand, of course, you have not 2 hands behind it. You don't have the leverage you can use the way you use it with two-handed. Even then, this cuts the same as a two-handed sword, like a katana or others, but even better. So let's see the dao in action. You see, the first cut goes very smoothly, and it shows how powerful this blade is. In slow motion you can see how the cut is done. Please take a look at it, take a close look. Although now it's in slow motion, look how fast the blade moves. And then tatami omote is cut very well. As I said, it's the best grade, the toughest grade of tatami omote. You can see here being cut. Another cut from other angle. Right? You see again, if you go from your left to your right, this is the same thing. It cuts very well. You can take a look at it in slow motion now. See, look, effortlessly it goes through the tatami omote. Now we can see another cut. Again, it goes very well. You see, this is this cut from my own left side to the right. You see how it cuts in slow motion. As I mentioned it to you, it goes through tatami as if nothing is in its way. Again, another cut. Please take a look at it. Even when the tatami omote is cut into smaller pieces, it again goes through it like butter. Look, I'm going to show you the surface of one of the cuts, the tatami cut, which is cut, so you can look at the surface of the tatami. So here we come and see again other cuts with it. Again, you see how it goes through it. The slow motion shows it clearly. Here we're taking smaller cuts from the upper surface. As the tatami is getting smaller and smaller, it gets harder and harder to cut, but again, niuweidao cuts it very well. seriously as if nothing is on its way. Even the shock, no shock is transferred to the handle. Of course you need a good technique, but the geometry and also the flexibility, not real flexible, but you know what I mean, this type of flexibility, how the blade adjusts itself to the surface. It's like a snake going through, you know, the way it behaves and cuts tatami omote. Take a look at it again, please. Look at the speed. Again, you can see it in slow motion. The moment where the wooden peg was cut before, so I just put it, you know, without being on a peg, so it's freestanding. The tatami omote is freestanding. And now please take a look how it cuts again. You see, in half, although it was small. This is a testimony of the power of the niuweidao. Look at this. Yeah. See how it cuts it in half and in two pieces. We are going to show you the same again and another cut. Again freestanding, so you can take a look at it. Look, same principle. Cuts very well. Cutting here, so you can take a look. Again freestanding. You see in half again. Without any effort, it just cuts it. You can see in slow motion. This was a very good cut. Yeah, take a look at it. Again, we are going to take a look at another tatami omote cut, freestanding one. Again, the wooden peg was cut, as I mentioned it before. Again, you see how it cuts. In slow motion, you can see it again. And now again in slow motion, this time at a slower rate. Yeah, you see how the cut goes very well with this. Last cut this video using this now. You see, it goes very well and it cuts extremely well. Well, that was the niuweidao, right? And this is the niuweidao, and thank you for visiting our channel, and please subscribe to our channel, support us, and see you soon. Thank you.